Hi, Grandma Leona. Mario here. Very nice to meet you.
Well, it's nice to meet you too, and thank you for inviting me on the show.
Thank you for taking the time to do the show. It's a pleasure to have you. I'm a big fan of grandmas, and especially grandmas who love their grandsons as much as you do. So just jumping right into it, how was Miles growing up as a little kid? What kind of kid was he?
Well, I'm going to tell you, Miles has always been a special kid, always charming and happy. If you've seen him, you see that he dances a lot. Because he's just really a joyful, happy person. He's really fun to be with. People love being around him. He's got the same group of friends that he grew up with, that they socialize and go to each other's weddings and things like that. He is he's just a bright spirit. And if there's any two things that I want to get across, is that not only is he a great talent, Miles is a wonderful human being. Now, I know everybody's grandparents think that, but, I'm the only one getting a chance to get on Access Hollywood to say it.
That's right, Grandma. That is right. That's right. Good for you. What joy does it bring you when you get to see him on the big screen?
Well, I'm just exceedingly proud, of Miles, but I've always known that he had a talent. And I know that if once he gets a character in his mind, he can bring that character to life. I don't know whether, how many people have seen how he just did the show The Offer, and how he did such a fantastic performance portraying Al Ruddy. That was such a fantastic show.
Grandma, I got to agree with you. I'm watching The Offer right now. He is fantastic in it, and he's doing such a great job. He really makes it, and he's the glue that holds it together right there. So yeah, you should be proud of that. What about when you saw him in Top Gun? What do you think? What do you think it is that made that movie such a phenomenon?
Well, I've seen naturally. I've seen this show 3 times, and I get something new out of it every time I watch it. It is just just a phenomenon. I get people messaging me all the time how they've watched it more than one time, and how they absolutely just love Miles. If they didn't know anything about his work before, Top Gun Maverick has really gave him an opportunity to shine. I mean, he sings, he dances, he flaunts his muscles, he just, and of course his good looks and his brilliance as an actor.
Where does he get?
Tom Cruise ain't too bad either.
Tom Cruise is not too bad. I think he's gonna be all right. You're right about that. Where do you think he gets his talent from? I mean, is that your side of the family? Is that you?
Well, now you're trying to really walk me into some muddy water right here, but I'm one of these people that I like to think that all the points that matter in my grandchildren that they've gotten from me, but that's just me.
You've got a lot of personality, so I'm going to say you're not too far off right there. Now, is this true? You were at the premiere of Top Gun, and describe the feelings you had on the carpet being with your grandson there.
Well, it was absolutely amazing. I was having a little problem at that time with my hip, so I had to be in a wheelchair. But of course, one of Miles's buddies was happy to be able to wheel me around. I was amazed. I was just amazed at the enthusiasm that all the crowd had, and of course, Tom, he helicoptered in, and just for it to be on that wonderful big ship. I know that I'm calling it a ship. I know I should be calling it something other than that.
No, it's a ship.
But it was just fantastic, and I had met a number of the young stars that were in the show, and prior to the premiere, and but I didn't get to meet Tom Cruise until the premiere, and he is just the most delightful person. He held my hand. We talked for a while together, and at the end of our conversation, he turned to the crowd and he said, "She's my date for the night."
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, he's pretty special.
It was wonderful. Absolutely just amazing, memorable.
I bet. I bet. Now, you went viral a few weeks ago for starting a campaign to have Miles become the next James Bond. So here's your moment, Grandma. Why do you think Miles should be the next Bond?
Well, first of all, I know that that Miles is a wellspring of skill, talent. He could have been anything he wanted to be, but the world's lucky that he chose to be an actor, because once he gets a character in his mind, he can become that person. And I know that he would make a fantastic James Bond. Matter of fact, no one wears a tuxedo better than Miles does. And I can picture him with a martini in his hand. He is just absolutely just the coolest guy. And I know that he would make a whole new generation of fans of James Bond.
Hey, you got me convinced right there. Does your grandson, is he aware of this campaign?
Well, Miles and I are, are very close, but I just did what I always do. I just bragging about my grandchildren, and of course he's a celebrity, so I probably give him a little bit more. And so I happened to read about there going to be a new James Bond, and naturally I just envisioned Miles, and I just said it on Twitter, and it was like it just started snowballing and it got a life of its own, and now I'm here talking to you, Mario. I mean, so I'm as surprised as anyone. Miles just gets a kick out of me. He's that kind of a grandson that he thinks that I'm special, and I'm so happy that he does. And so he really is probably delighted. I never said anything to him about it before I just popped out with it on, in a tweet. So he just more or less was kind of forced into, rolling along with something that I started. But he did call me today and tell me, he knows that I knew that I was nervous about it. So he said, "Good luck, Grandma," and no worries.
Well, I think he's the lucky one to have such a cool grandma, Miles is. So I got to tell you that.
I have a lot of grandchildren, and there's been no greater joy in my life than being a grandmother to these exceptional grandchildren that I have. Now, every grandmother feels the same way I do. Just that I'm on social media and I get opportunity to express my pride, a little bit more.
Good for you.
But I have Miles he's not just he's not a great actor. He's a great family person. He's a great friend. He's in close contact with his family. It was mom and dad, they're in communication almost all the time. He runs everything by them. They have just done a spectacular job in raising Miles and giving him every opportunity to be able to do what he's doing today.
Well,
so I have to give a big praise, to his mom and dad and his sister Dana, they're like twins.
Well, Leona, we want to learn a little bit about you. Can you please tell us about your background and some of what you've been through? Well,
my grandchildren encouraged me to write a book about my experiences a few years ago, and so I have out this book called. My granddaughter Dana said, "Grandma, it's a wonderful book, and you ought to tell people about it." So I'm doing what my granddaughter said. I'm talking about my book for a minute, but it tells about my experiences in life that I've lost 4 of my 7 children, and I grew up very poor. Had a pig for a pet, among other things, and I'm someone that I like to share hope and encouragement to others in order to cope with the problems of life. Where my mother used to say, we're deviled from the cradle to the grave, and there's no one that escapes the problems and cares and pain of life. And so I've always tried to share a little hope and encouragement that whatever comes to us in life, that there is a way to get through it.